Doug, I'm still here for Vegas Pro Insiders Daily. Today is Friday, January the 5th, I believe. Yes, that is correct, January 5th. It's the first Friday of the new year, and which means there's a big weekend of football coming our way. Specifically, the playoffs, the wild card weekend, which is usually always pretty interesting. Some of the games are better than others, like always. But hey, you know what? Should be really exciting. And the NFC is loaded just in general. So this week and the next in particular. So we'll see what happens there. So as it turns out, for line moves, we have all four games that come into play. That's pretty rare to have that. So we have that, and we also have a total on one of those. And in addition, we also have some NBA and college basketball for Friday, and then Monday, the national championship game, Alabama and Georgia. So we have all that to talk about today, so we will get to that in a moment. Plus, we have our tip of the day. And yesterday's was correct on that. Today's was going to be a little bit different, but this is how it's going to go. Now, speaking of how it's going to go, Vegas Pro Insider Daily VPID membership, $99 a month. Okay, that alone to get the picks from all the top experts would be worth it. Okay, that just alone. Okay, Sean Higgs, number 2 in the NFL. I'm number 7 in the NFL. Dennis Macklin is on a 20 and 8 run. Kyle Hunter, he just wins all the time, so he's got that going for him. And Jim Mack is solid as can be. But not only are you going to get that, you're going to get all their picks in all the sports over the next 30 days. Okay, not just football, but you're going to get basketball, hockey, basketball, college and pro. So you're going to get all that. Plus, you're going to get Wise Guy picks. Okay, Wise Guy picks on a 12-2 run at the present time. Damian, who's been our top Wise Guy of late, he is just stroking it, man. 12-4-1 complete record in his best bets the last 15 days. Or 17 days, excuse me. So he's just been on fire. You're going to get that. Plus, you're going to get my super systems. As I've mentioned before, super systems just continue to roll. 2-1 again on Thursday night. It just ding, 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 ding. Money, 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 money in your pocket if you want it for $99 a month. Okay, so you know what to do. Vegas Pro Insider Daily. Sign up right there. That's where you can get everything that you need for you to be a winner today, tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, and going forward. Hey, we're not going to win every day, but you know what? We're going to make you money. That's the important part. All right, let's talk about some of the line moves and give you the free picks for this upcoming week. We'll start Friday in the NBA. The total on the New York Knicks and Miami Heat game is going up like the volume will be this weekend at all the clubs on South Beach. Okay? It's going to be loud and it's going to be fun. But the total is also on the rise, up 2 points to 202.5. In reviewing the numbers on both teams, their offenses and defenses have been up and down. Kind of maybe even like the volume might be, a little up and down. Nothing really to go by there. So in terms of trying to understand what's going to be the best way to go about this game, I look at the Miami Heat. They're 22-13 under, and they're 14-5 under if they've won 2 of their last 3. I'm going to lean with the under on this one, in spite of the fact that 95% of bettors early on are on the over. So we'll see how that plays out. That'll be curious. Now, also, one game I might recommend for you to check out if you have the time on Friday night is the Northern Kentucky at Oakland University game. It's going to be at ESPN2 at 9 o'clock. And the reason that I say that, it is very likely that one of these two teams will be in the NCAA tournament. So if you want to see what they look like, which is something I always prefer to do, this would be your opportunity to do it. Get a chance to really get a good look at both teams. Now, in this one, Northern Kentucky has played better thus far this season, and they actually came into the game as the favorite at -1 at Oakland. But bettors, especially like myself and others of this ilk, have know about the history of the Golden Grizzlies, and they're tough at home. And so the line has flipped to where Oakland is now a 2-point favorite on this one. You can make a case for both. I can see why odds makers made the Northern Kentucky, the Norse, the favorites. and I can also understand why it got flipped around. I just think that the Oakland being at home, I think they're tough at home. I think they've won and covered 3 out of the last 3, I believe. I know they've won. I'm not sure about the covering, but I know they've won the last 3 against Northern Kentucky. I think they're going to make it 4 on this one. All right, let's move ahead to Saturday. Let's talk some NFL. First game, Tennessee and Kansas City. Tennessee has gone from +7 to +8.5, even a couple of +9s out in the marketplace. Kansas City's offense has got it back on track, 28.5 points per game in their last 5. Tennessee's offense has underperformed all year, 20.9 points per game on the season, and the teams that they played actually gave up more on average. So there's your underachievement right there on the Titans. They're down to, I think it's 17.9 when they go on the road. Not good for Tennessee in this particular instance. So that's another problem. Kansas City's defense has been especially good. I think 16.9 points allowed in their most recent games and 16.2 points per game at home. I might have those numbers reversed, but that's what I remember. So from that standpoint, so I look at that. Tennessee's 1-8 against the spread coming off a home win. It looks like a really strong play for Kansas City. The only caveat, this one hurts a little bit just to go all in on this one. Playoff games, Kansas City 2-12 against the spread. Makes it a tough choice. I'm going to lean with the Chiefs on that one. Later, Saturday night on NBC, Atlanta is going to be at the Los Angeles Rams. So the first thing I want to know when they show is the crowd chat. Okay, how many Rams fans are on there? Has the bandwagon is it going to start to fill up now that they're a playoff team? They say in Los Angeles you have to win in order to get fan acceptance. Let's see what the Ram fans get, okay, or what they do, what they bring. So that'll be the first point of curiosity. The other thing that has come about is the Los Angeles Rams opened at either -4, -4.5. They shot all the way up to -6 before coming back ever so slightly to -5.5. Now here's the thing you have to ask yourself. Do you trust the Los Angeles Rams, with a team with virtually no playoff experience, and a coach that has no playoff experience as the head coach, going up against a more veteran Atlanta team who just last year should have been and could have been the Super Bowl champions? They had to fight their way into the playoffs. Matt Ryan, all those guys have on the playoff stage. Hey, you know what? I'm not saying teams that can't win a Super Bowl without any playoff experience. The St. Louis Rams did that in 1999. They had no playoff experience, hadn't been to a playoff game in 10 years. They rolled 13-3 that year and ended up winning the championship. But Dick Vermeil, yeah, quite a club. But is it going to happen again here? I'm thinking it's not, okay? I'm not saying that Los Angeles won't win. I'm not saying that. But I'll take the 5.5 with Atlanta on this one, okay? 63% of bettors are also on Atlanta. Let's move ahead to Sunday. Buffalo, Jacksonville. We got a side and a total on this one. Now, Jacksonville has lost their last 2 games. Hey, you know what? Bettors are thinking, no problem. They've taken Jacksonville from -7 up to -9 on this one, and they stayed there pretty much all week against the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Bills, we know their story. Hadn't been in the playoffs for forever. Got back in. LaShawn McCoy got hurt. Not busted, but he hurt his ankle last week. Had to be carted off. He's a big part of their offense. At best, he's going to be under 100% in terms of performance. On Thursday, I read where he is even quoted as saying he hopes he can go. He's doing everything he can to go. But if he's not playing, that really further limits against the Jacksonville defense that is awfully tough. How good is Jacksonville's defense? Okay, they're number 2 in total defense. They're number 2 in fewest points allowed. They're number 2 in total sacks and in interceptions. I'll have you guess what they are. Number 2. Stout defense. Going to be hard for Jacksonville to move the ball in this one. Unless Buffalo forces turnovers, I'm not sure how they stay in the game, myself personally. But, you know, Bortles does turn the ball over on occasion. However, I'm not sure that's going to necessarily happen here because Jacksonville has the #1 rushing offense, and they're going up against Buffalo's number 29 run defense. So I could see that, trying to control the game in that pace in terms of, how the game is going to be played, okay, in terms of the pace. Now, the total also, along with that, also has fallen from 41 down to 39.5, and because of that thing I just stated to you about the running game of Jacksonville, that means the clock's moving. If they're controlling the ball, if they're getting 3 and outs, okay, taking control of the game, I think Jacksonville and the under are the play on that game. The last game on Fox, Carolina, New Orleans. Game number 3, New Orleans has won and covered both the last two, or this season, so they're going after the trifecta against the Panthers. Now, the interesting part about this game, at least besides just the game itself, is with how bad Nick Foles has looked for Philadelphia. And by all reports, is the winner of this game is going to be favored going to Philadelphia next week. All right? So you have that. So this is a really important game for both teams because if you go just with the spread, the winner of this game is likely to play for the NFC Championship if you don't have any belief in Nick Foles. So with that case, so the stakes are even higher. Now, New Orleans opened at -5.5, went to -6.5. And if you've noticed, I believe Cam Newton has not thrown, maybe just one game, but I don't think he's thrown for over 200 yards in his last 7 games. He might have thrown for 1 in there. I don't recall right off the top of my head, but I think his shoulder's bothering him. I think that's a problem. He was horrible last week, 16 for 34 on this. If the Saints get it rolling in the Fancy Car Dome with that crowd, they're going to be tough to beat, and I think they have a very good chance of making it 3-0 straight up and against the spread against the Carolina Panthers. Finally, let's go to the championship game, Georgia, Alabama. Now in Nevada, the total hasn't hardly moved at all. Okay, there's opened at 45, still mostly 45s, a few 44.5s. But on online sports books, almost everyone I checked is down to 44. So there's action there. I find it hard to disagree with that. Okay, to be perfectly honest, you have 2 outstanding defenses. You have 2 teams that prefer to run the ball as their method of moving on the ground. You have 2 coaches that are extremely familiar with one another. So I think that all lends itself to a lower score. And now Alabama is 6-2 under in their last 8 games. And when they face typically traditional offenses like Georgia's, who have more run the ball, don't have a mobile quarterback, that's usually when their defense plays better or seemingly at their best. So that being the case, I think the case here can be made certainly to go with the under in that game. All right, so hey, that's all the free picks and everything that I have. Now, I mentioned to the tip of the day. Now, as I said, this is going to change all the time. Not going to just be a system I have or whatever. Sometimes it's going to be some thoughts like I have right now. I wrote an article for Scores and Stats last night. I'll have it posted on the website as soon as they have it up to where it links to their site. And what it was about was something that I just looked into in college basketball. And here's what it is that I looked at obviously scoring's up. College basketball is definitely changing, like the NBA changed with Steph Curry. That has matriculated all the way down the ladder or down the food chain to college basketball. With that being the case, scoring's way up in college basketball. Last look, 72 teams are scoring 80 or more points. I looked at the top 14 teams in college basketball. You know what their against the spread record is? You ready for this? 115-63. That's what I said. 115-63. Now, is that going to hold all year? No, it's not going to. But what it tells me as a handicapper is that because of this change, there's things to consider, all right? And among the things to consider, now, there's going to be conference play, which is going to alter some things going forward. I understand that. But the style of play isn't going to change. These teams now, they're spreading the floor more, taking more threes than ever, with greater accuracy. Also, because the middle of the floor is more wide open now because of this, that allows for teams that are particularly that like to let's say, run backdoor cuts, run things off screens. Guys are getting more layups, okay, off of this action than two if teams come out to play defense to guard the three more closely. That opens up the floor more. So with this, so the better teams, let's just say a Duke, a Michigan State, teams like that, you know, they're having a great deal of success because they have great athletes that can not only shoot the ball, but they can also take the ball right to the rim. Conversely, teams, let's say maybe like a Portland State, an Arizona State, a William & Mary, those types of teams, you know, they have very good three-point shooters. And then the other aspect that they can do, again, as they come out, as I just said, they can run things off of screens, do other things. And these teams score a lot right at the rim. So that's why they have been good bets so far. Now, this does not guarantee that they're going to all be good bets, but it's remarkable to me that 14 teams, the top 14 scoring teams, have that sort of record, and not one has a losing against spread record. The worst one is Oklahoma at 6-6. So that's remarkable. So the lesson to be taken from this for our tip of the day is, besides what I just said, is that when you have matchups of teams that play at a certain pace, so the aforementioned teams, you can look them up, the top 14 teams, but any teams that, you know, that's scoring quite a bit, and then when they're matched against a team that likes to play similar but doesn't necessarily shoot the three ball as well, okay, and doesn't shoot the ball overall as well. I'm not talking about slowing the game down. I'm talking about equal teams in terms of style of play, how they like to play. I think you have to look towards the team that scores more points in order to cover the spreads. Okay, that's your tip of the day. So this is Doug Upstone, Vegas Pro Insiders Daily. I went way over my time today. Geez, this has been too long. Too much talking for me. So have a great weekend. Hopefully you cash big. And I hope to do the same, by the way. Cash big on this weekend on the football games, basketball games, whatever you happen to be betting. And we'll be back next week to talk more action. Can't wait for that already. So good luck, as I just mentioned, this weekend. This is Doug Upson from Vegas Pro Insider Daily. Become a member. Become a member. Vegas Pro Insider Daily. I am out.